Hello friends, and welcome to the channel. I'm Handington, and today I don't think I can start this. Alright, well, I hoped that my father was just coming in for a second and then he'd leave, and he did. So I'm very glad that I paused this instead of just turning it off, because I easily could restart this episode because we're only a few seconds in, but that failed intro is a trophy. It's a victory that this is possible. That he left, and then I'm able to do this. Yay, I can make an episode. So I better not spend it all in just prefacing stupid things like I always do. Anyway, so, alright. I made the right call, and I'm happy, I'm proud. So, here we have an event that's based off of Jelly Pop, which is pretty cool. It's a little annoying due to the fact that once the cookie booster raises, just like in Jelly Pop, you can't, like, it can end up being a bit of a waste if you don't, if you do things wrong. Like, there you go. So, you gotta try and make the most out of the jellies that you pop with. And it feels, I mean, it's the entire game mode, but programmed in as a mini game in here, which is really cool. A little clunky, but really cool. It doesn't quite feel the same, but this is super awesome, and I didn't even realize this was a mode in the corner. I thought it was just a promotion for the thing, like when you link up the accounts, which is what I had already done. But no, it's an entire mini game in the corner. You run out of moves very easily, though. Here we are. So you gotta earn more each day by doing stuff. Luckily, they give you a good amount of time for it. Am I recording? Yes, okay. I'm glad it worked out. It went through. So, as I imagine I will name the episode this, I no longer like Sugartera. I am not a fan. And apparently, when I had, like, because I put up the episode before and I put up the end card and everything, I didn't look at all of the rest of the names of Sugartera when I had scrolled through it quickly. So I was like, oh, yep, look at that. And then I think it, like, jumped over to the side, because I remember seeing that briefly when I had done that. And that the reason why that's important is because even though it was right in front of my face, I didn't realize what happens later in Sugartera. And now I no longer like it, and just like how Yogurca has been here basically an entire year, we now have Sugartera here. It's going to probably be here for an entire year. And I don't know how many points I can get before that point, because in order to get the weekly reward, because you need that in order to get Wave Drop. So, alright, so I played through the first little bit of the level. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought that you'd have some more swimming mechanics. There is an interesting swimming mechanic where there's a little yellow submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine. It is rather keen in my submarine. Yeah, I wish we could stay in the sub. It's less scary than if we went out. I gave up rhyming because I don't like the rest of Sugartera. It ends up becoming a horrible nightmare later on that I completely did not expect. Part of me wishes that I had done it on recording, but the other part of me feels like if I did it on recording, I wouldn't have had the weird, like, trauma, repression, that's it, trauma repression that ended up happening as I had been playing it. For whatever weird state I had entered in the middle of it. So, I'm being intentionally vague, because that's how I roll. That's what I do. Now this is bad only by completely and utterly subjective reasons. Not objectively. Objectively, Sugartera is pretty good. I liked Yogurca more. In terms of actual layout and gameplay, Yogurca's levels were a little bit shorter and they were a little bit easier to manage. And you got to choose which route you wanted to take, whether you wanted one that's a little bit easier, that gave you a little less points, or one that was a little harder but gave you more points. And it was really cool. I liked Yogurca. It also had a bunch of different unique mechanics to each area. Here there's basically one unique mechanic, and then that's kind of it. And then there's like maybe one, but I kind of forget because I've only run through Sugartera once. But yeah, let me show you, because I just did the auto create. So I have run through the entire map. Over here we have, oh, I need to get one more at the Sunrise Tower. I may do that, because it's at the very beginning. So we have Sunrise at the Tower. What a lovely name. Sunrise at, like, Ice Fairy Cookie's Tower. There's the Sea Turtle Cove. How adorable. Then there's the Secret Highway of the Whales, which sounds like an amazing name for a band. Yeah, we're the Secret Highway of the Whales. I love that. That is a fantastic name. Going by these names, I would have been freaked out a little bit by that. The next one is the twirling. Whoa, there it goes again. There, thank you. Hold on, I need to build up suspense properly. Okay, I just scrolled back so that there wasn't a spoiler on the way. So yeah, there's the Secret Highway of the Whales. So, as you may or may not know, things being eaten by other things are like my worst fear. Ever since I had been very little, I had been traumatized first by the Magic School Bus book, where like Arnold eats them, and it just has been a lifelong thing. Once it clicked, because I had started to. That was one of the first books where I actually had heard the words instead of just looking at the pictures and making up my own stories. And I had been old enough at that point where things started to click, and fear set in, and it has not left. I have made strides to be better than I had been when I was younger, but no, the fear is still there. There was a point when my mom was very interested in just trying to help me get over my fear, especially because it was closer to the time when she had been diagnosed with cancer, and she really wanted to help me to get over like my fears and stuff. So she made me watch a whole bunch of things and read a whole bunch of things regarding said subject. And for a while, it was bad until it got a little bit more like, okay, I guess I can handle this decently enough. And then I saw an episode of SpongeBob One Course Meal that just re-triggered me. And I haven't gotten to that state of like, okay, acceptance since. So yeah, it is my fear, and I'm still working on the video of the Magic School Bus review of the episode, because it has taken me years, and I am still not finished with it. It's hard for me to get through it. So I'm still in the middle of that. You'll get that one day. One day, someday, friends. Excuse me. Okay. So we have the Secret Highway of the Whales, which like whales ever since I was little kind of freaked me out, especially with Finding Nemo, which funny enough, every time I have watched Finding Nemo, it has just increasingly given me more anxiety. Since the first time I had watched it, like the very first time I watched Finding Nemo had actually been like sorry, I'm walking around the house so the audio's a little off. It had actually been before I had gotten my fear. So I was okay with the scene where they're inside the whale. And it wasn't until we watched it on TV and I realized, oh, wait a minute, this is terrifying, because it was on late at night, and for some reason my parents decided that I was allowed to stay up to watch it. So it was on until like late at night one day, years and years ago, on like ABC, because Disney. So I remember watching it during the middle of the night, because it was at night by the time it had been on, and it was past my bedtime, I believe. So it was terrifying when that happened. So whales freak me out. I'm not a big fan of whales. So seeing the name of this would have been like Secret Highway of the Whales. Well, it's either kind of cool and you're just riding with the whales and it's pleasant, or you'd be in the whale, which I'm not a fan of. So luckily it wasn't that. So I was like, okay, that's good. Then we go deeper into the ocean, into the Twisting Jellyfish Playground. I think this is... Yeah, the Twisting Jellyfish Playground, and I'm like, oh, okay, so we're deeper into the ocean. Sort of like Bikini Bottom with Rock Bottom and stuff like that. So, okay, that's fine. Then we go to the Deep Sea Expanse. And as if by premonition, when we got to this area, part of me had been a little bit on edge, because it was dark and felt very claustrophobic. And I am not claustrophobic. However, it's skeeved, is that the term? I was a little skeeved out. I was unnerved in this area where it was like, this doesn't feel that right. This feels like, it feels dangerous. It feels like at some point, like something might try to attack you. And then they have like a kraken attack you, and or somewhere, and I'm like, oh, there we go. Okay, well, it's just a kraken. Okay, it's just spooky, but it's kind of good fun and whatever. So it's like, oh, okay, that's fine. So you're running through the rest of the area, and it's like, okay. And then there's like this giant potion in a bubble on light, and it's like, oh, hey, look at that. There's a giant potion. Oh, and it's lit up. And it's like, oh, well, that's kind of cute. And then, like, from the darkness, you see an anglerfish right over there. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, look at that. There's an anglerfish. And then it sinks in. Oh, there's an anglerfish. We're running right towards it. Well, this could either go one of two ways, I was thinking in my mind, but not in as good of a mood as I am retelling this story. Where it's like, oh, okay, well, either the anglerfish is part of the background and is just looking like that, as a number of other background things happen there in Cookie Run, and it's just like, okay, you'll run past it. Or the other thing is that it could just be like a gate entrance, and you walk past it, and it's just inanimate, like they do in the SpongeBob movie game, where they have a door that's like that, where you go into some sort of cave, and then the door outside just kind of looks like one. Or you actually are eaten by a giant anglerfish. So I'm like, well, they can't be doing that. The only time that ever happened was with the witch in the very original Ovenbreak, which also helped me have some mad respect, as the kids with a Z specified, say these days, because I am hip and one with the die youth. So definitely had a lot of respect for the fact that Gingerbrave faced the thing that he fears most in the world solely to help somebody else out, even after he had been freed from his torturous chance of death to look death in the eye and then stay there so that he could go to the witch's heart to presumably kill her from the inside so that she couldn't bring any more cookies to life just to kill them. Because the witch is evil. She, after the initial mistake of Gingerbrave, where she brings the cookies to life by using magic powder instead of ginger powder, she then brings them to life to eat them alive while they're screaming. That is the plot of Ovenbreak and Cookie Run, to escape the witch, to have the cookies run to safety so that they're not eaten. And the only time that ever happened was in the very first one, where it was like of significant importance to the story and the character of Gingerbrave. And so often, oh, there we go. Thank you very much, game, for constantly it just loves to launch me to the right. I tap to the left, and it slides to the right. It's doing the Cupid Shuffle. They programmed in Cookie Run Ovenbreak to love the Cupid Shuffle for some reason. Why does the AI love the Cupid Shuffle? Why does it decide, oh, there's an anglerfish, slide to the right? So you slide into its mouth, and guess what? It's a level inside the anglerfish, if you couldn't tell. So, for anyone who's not just starting out the game, and like your cookies might die before that point, that's what you have to look forward to for an entire year straight until they swap out the main episode for some other thing. So yeah, that's what's happening. So it happens, and it is, I mean, objectively, it is not horrible, and also, because I don't want to have another situation from what I can tell with like So Sorry, I guess, from Undertale, but the actual character that it was based on or whatever. If you like that kind of thing, or any of this kind of thing is like something you enjoy, you are more than welcome to not only enjoy it, but still come by the channel. You are still welcome. I do not wish to turn anyone away who enjoys things as long as it does not hurt anybody. However, this is my absolute worst fear, so I would like to ask a bit of a nod of understanding, where it's like, I'm gonna say this is terrible. It's not terrible, it's subjectively terrible. You are still welcome here. I am going to bash this, though, so I apologize, but I don't want anybody to feel alienated. You are still welcome here, regardless of things that you enjoy, if this is like an affinity for you, or if you like these kinds of things, even in stories, and it's just something that you enjoy, or it's just like, oh, well, look at that, that's a fun gimmick, like you see in a bunch of other things. This is trauma to me. But you are still more than welcome, and I don't want anybody to feel like they're not welcome here. I mean, my father isn't welcome here, and certain people who are just the absolute worst are not welcome. As in, like, they are, like, abusive and stuff. But, like, people who just enjoy things, you're welcome here. Anyway, I'm still going to rant about how horrible this is. So this level is disgusting and absolutely horrible and terrifying, and it's the worst thing ever, and I hate it so frickin' much. So there's a pirate ship. There are multiple pirate ships that this anglerfish has eaten. So over here, it is called the Belly of the Deep Sea Terror. I don't want to even look at the rest of it, because like the internal rib cage skeeves me. It creeps me out, and it's not, it is horrible. I hate it so much. And then you leave, like, you just unceremoniously, like, they don't make it funny where, like, you get pooped out. It's just, you just phase through, which is actually what I was hoping initially would happen, like, if it was a gate, where it's sort of like in the other breakout, where you go through, like, the pipe or whatever, and then you just kind of phase through to the forest or something, through the sewers. I thought it was going to be something like that, where you just kind of walk past it and you just phase through. That's how you get pooped out by the anglerfish. And then you're just in the passage to Sugartera. And then the gleaming crystal temple, probably due to the fact that I had already been on edge from when this had happened, there's a gigantic, like, pearl that looks sort of like an eye. And normally that kind of thing does not creep me out, but I was definitely unsettled the entire time after what had happened. So the eye and its relentless attacks of energy, and just the way that it had risen up when you initially see it, it's just like, oh, what fresh nether awaits us now? And then the eye rises from the background, and it's like, I am now thoroughly in a mood where I am now, this kind of thing freaks me out. Like, I can play a bunch of horror games, and I will be okay. Like, I could watch a Let's Play of, like, Resident Evil 7, because I saw, like, some of the Game Grumps playing it, and it's like, okay, that doesn't scare me. If I was playing it, that wouldn't really scare me. That's not the kind of thing I'm afraid of. No, Cookie Run, where you get eaten by the anglerfish, this is the kind of thing that terrifies me to no end. This is the kind of thing. And the part of what made it so much worse is that this is like a happy, safe space kind of game, where it's like, I do this to relax. I do this for enjoyment, and I have fun with this. And again, no issue on the Dev Sisters' part. This is just another part of the level design. There is nothing objectively wrong with this. It is just my own subjective rantings. Oh, it's raining. Oh, no, it's not raining. It's lawn people, and there's just grass getting chucked at a window, which sounds like raindrops. Oh, now there is thunder. Okay, because it's been cloudy all day. I thought it was going to rain. So I thought the rain had come. It was just that was like something out of a movie where, like, you're expecting a horror jump scare and it's some other innocuous thing, and then they're like, oh, okay. And then eventually it'll be a thing, except it'll end up being rain, and rain is extremely necessary because it is so unbelievably hot in the house. And the rain brings coolness. Because also, if you didn't know, we don't have AC in my house, so I am sweltering and I'm dying inside, and it's awful. I'm dying inside and mentally and outside physically due to the heat, and I am still trying my best to cool down. In fact, in the meantime, while I am ranting, because I'm not actually playing the game as it appears, I'm just talking and making a vlog. I actually was thinking of playing the game and then just stopping before that happens, but like, this has just become a rant. Nope, getting you off the screen. And while I'm talking about this and making a whole story out of it, I'm actually getting a little bit warmer at the moment, so I am currently in the fridge. We happen to have some soda. We're going to have a soda. I'm actually recording this after my birthday. Which luckily, this didn't happen on my birthday, but it did happen before my birthday. Oh, more thunder. Cool. Anyway, so, like, yeah, it is, I am not a fan. I am in no way a fan of this next part. I think I might be able to earn rainbow rank with the area before. I might have to just do it perfectly, because there were bigger fish to worry about, literally, than what my score had been at that point. Plus, like, it was my first time going through Sugartera, so my score was automatically going to be a bit lower because I'm not as practiced in it. So I don't know if you can reach rainbow rank before the anglerfish. If I can, so that I can get the diamonds, and more importantly, wave drop, then that means I will just, every time I play this, I will no longer be able to get the higher diamond rank, the higher rainbow rank to get more crystals. But so I'll be behind like maybe 100 or 200 crystals a week, maybe 300 depending on what it is. Because I don't want to go through the area again. I don't want to complete that again. Once was more than enough, unless I decide to make a video specifically showing it off, which I kind of don't wish to do. I don't want that, because this is just a sucker punch out of nowhere that I was not expecting in Sugartera. I thought it was just going to be a happy-go-lucky water fantasy, you know, like the Little Mermaid, under the sea, it's traumatizing. Fear, it is rising under the sea. And I thought it would be nice. I thought it would be a nice time. And then we'd end up having something like rock bottom at most when we got to the darker area. But no, it had to be the awful. Good. That's exactly the thing I did not want in the slightest out of this game. And it's so unceremonious. Also, with the story, because I unlocked like however many jellies you need for the second part of the story, I am now afraid that one of the cutscenes, again, the thunder in the background is perfect for me telling this story. This ominous story. Well, ominous for me and any other person who may have said anti-affinity, disenjoyment, somebody who does not like this kind of thing as well. I am worried that at some point they're going to just be like, all right, you're going to be banished to the depths, and then there's going to be part of the story where they have to confront the anglerfish if they're going to incorporate in the area, in like the areas of Sugartera into it. They skip to the golem in the second story, which is like, oh, okay, they skip past the anglerfish, the worst part. That's good. I'm glad about that. That's what I would have preferred, because, like, there's a rock golem in the second to last area, which, I like rock golems. Rock golems are cool to me. I don't have a problem, but the coolness of the ancient rock temple golem is kind of overshadowed by the fact that it was horrible the time right before it, and after, like, once I was in that place, I was just like, no, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. That level didn't happen. That's not real. That didn't happen. And even, like, the only thing that got me through the level was a mental denial of what I had been experiencing, which is why I don't wish to go back to reaffirm it, because, like, in terms of the depths of my soul, it feels as though it has not happened, even though in my brain-wise, I know it happened. I think the Right Opinion had mentioned something like this, or if not, Kappa Kaiju, where, like, there's this TV show where this clergy guy was, I don't know, he lost a bet and had to kick a priest, and then just acted as though it didn't happen for the entire episode to try and get the priest to end up believing that, like, no, I wouldn't be kicked. That didn't happen. I mean, it happened. I'm sure it happened, but that didn't happen. It's like that sort of effect. So that kind of thing ended up happening here with me in that level, which is kind of nice, because it was like, oh, okay, because, like, I did it right before I was going to go to sleep, which would normally have meant that I had horrible nightmares about it, but I didn't. I didn't have horrible nightmares about it. So far, I have yet to have a horrible nightmare about it. Excuse me a second while I take a drink. Okay. So, I'm really sorry for nothing interesting being on the screen besides my rant. But yeah, so while I was going through it, I was like, no, this isn't happening. This isn't going on right now. No. I mean, this is happening, but this can't be real. Meanwhile, also, it's like both sides of my brain were doing that, where one of them is, like, screaming, no, go, just run through it, just go, while the other part is saying, no, this isn't happening, this isn't real, what we're seeing right now is not actually happening. Just focus on getting through the level, make sure you get through it so that this can be done as fast as possible, and, yeah, it's not happening. Which is kind of amazing. I got through the level flawlessly on my first attempt. Wait, did I miss a thing? No, I got through it perfectly flawless. 200 out of 200. There were 200 of them in there? Well, I mean, they're each worth 5, so doing the math, it's like 40 of them, I think, or whatever. I don't care. But, like, there are so many light spheres. There's over 600 in that area and forward that I also need. That's right, the light spheres, which I need in order to get the pearls for her magic candy, and then also to get the costume in the shop. I need all of those light spheres and 600 of them, which is like an entire week's worth of breakout, if not more, in just the last 3 areas. So it's so profitable to get through it, but I have no desire to do so. This game is for fun. I play this game for fun. I don't wish to torture myself just to get all of the good items, and I really think that I will end up taking a backseat to trying to catch up and go ahead and like be ahead by just skipping it, which also will probably mean that I will finish this a little bit sooner, and who knows, maybe I'll end up not playing the game as long, because I will try and do it in pockets of time when I feel like it. And speaking of other pockets of time, Pocket Camp in Animal Crossing. I am absolutely crushing it in that game. I believe I am somehow doing super well to min-max, and also have been getting lots of resources from other people's mailboxes, or the market boxes, excuse me. Excuse me again. So I'm doing pretty well in that game. I'm blasting through it, which gives me time for Cookie Run as well, so I'm able to get other stuff done simultaneously. But yeah, I don't wish to do this. Oh, and also, when this happened in the level, just due to the way that the set had been, oh my gosh, it was really 3 in. 3, technically 4. I didn't even realize it comes that soon in... Oh, okay, I thought that was my father. I didn't realize it came that soon in the list, but once we got to that section, I had been playing as Cocoa Cookie, so I got to the potion, and I'm just like, oh, a potion! In addition to all the other stuff that was happening there, but like, the other gameplay part of my mind is like, yeah, make sure you grab the potion and keep going forward, because Coco's ability will boost. So you get into the cup once you get the cocoa, so it's just like, yeah, I didn't have the initial, wait a minute, maybe I should just stop this right now in case it goes south. No, I was just like, yeah, we'll keep pressing forward. We have cocoa power, we're good, we're doing well. And then this happens, and then of course, like, the level is so freaking long. And I imagine the other parts are also just as long, but relatively, it felt a lot shorter. Even the area that just infinitely loops with the giant eye pearl, even though most of the area is that, with the rest of the cookies, that still felt like it went by a heck of a lot faster than the other one, although it's primarily due to the fact that I, A, did not like it, and B, because, like, once you think that the area and the level is done, it just keeps going, and it, like, repeats. It's so much longer than I expect. So, of course, out of all of, like, the cookies to die in that, the worst area to die in, Cookie Waifu, no. So it was like, okay, well, this is happening. We're not ending this here. So it's just like Peach Cookie had to essentially run in, and it's just like, gosh darn it, Coco. All right, hold on. So she has to come in. She has to just hoist in my headcanon. She just lifts Coco over her shoulder, and then is just like running through the rest of the relay, just getting through it. It's like, all right, come on. And then she's just like, what was really helpful is that she would also have her ability which enters the forest. So every so often you're in the middle of the fish, and then suddenly the fish disappears, and then you're in the middle of a bamboo forest, and it's just like, Peach Cookie, thank you. You changed the scenery, and I can just breeze through the area. This is wonderful. Thank you, Peach Cookie. You are the MVP here for getting through the area. Which, funny enough, Peach Cookie is my sister's favorite of the cookies. She doesn't really know much about the game, but she likes Peach Cookie and Panda Dumpling, because she loves pandas and dumplings. So, like, Peach Cookie is the MVP. And, of course, I believe Peach Cookie then dies literally right at the end, or, like, near the transition or whatever. So afterwards, Moonlight Cookie has to come in and is just like, gosh darn it, Peach Cookie. And with a revive. That's right. Peach Cookie gets a revive. That's just how long the level was. That, like, Peach Cookie with a revive wasn't even able to finish the entire thing. I believe Peach Cookie died right at the end. It's kind of fuzzy. Because I just remember leaving the area more than who I had been playing. Um, so again, I would also like to think that Moonlight then has to go through, but if it's at the end, I like to imagine that she just decides to run around the fish just to make it a whole lot easier. And I'd also like to imagine that it's like a straight path with no obstacles, so it's just like far, far easier. So you go around the other side, and then like she goes through the angler's butt, and then just like yanks out both of them, and is just like, all right, we're getting out of here. And then she goes and fights the golem, and then she gets through like the golem area, I believe, if not like we got up to like near Squid Ink Cookie or whatever. And then of course like the eye ends up happening. Yeah, I think it was Moonlight and then Squid to get through the golem area. I think each of those later areas are like 2 cookie areas. Um, so yeah, it's like, oh good, my favorite cookie dying in the worst place, and then my sister's favorite cookie also nearly dying in the said same place. And this was unintentional. This is like you saw when I made the combi generator. Actually, that's just how it happened. It was fate that this ended up happening this way. My father is out for a long time. This is good. I'm glad I can get this rant done. How long have I been ranting? Oh, that's a while. But like, so yeah. And I mean, like, the inside of the fish, at first I thought it may just be okay, where it's like, oh, okay, they have it kind of like Pinocchio, which also I hate Disney's Pinocchio, primarily because of Monstro, but also because I'm just not a fan of Disney's Pinocchio. I don't know, even with the original story where Pinocchio is like way worse and the world is like way worse and everything is not as nice. I don't know, something about it being like even more intense and dark, and Pinocchio just being a bit more reasonably stupid and also deliberately evil, while also being like, oh no, I made a mistake, but I really don't wish to be evil. That just ends up happening. Like near the beginning. I don't know. I prefer the original Pinocchio over the Disney version. And also, from what I can remember, I think like the guy at the puppet show, like, he's mean to Pinocchio in the Disney version, but in the original story, he's one of the only nice people. There are many changes that the Disney version made that are really nice and that are pleasant. Like the Good Fairy makes more sense somehow in the Disney version than it does in the Pinocchio version, because like the Blue Fairy dies, but she doesn't die. And I think something similar, because like Jiminy Cricket dies immediately at the beginning of the other Pinocchio, who's like, I have lived 1,000 years, child. How dare you not appreciate the things in your life? And then Pinocchio's just like, Bug, you go squish now. Like Homer, and going back through time, and then just kills Jiminy Cricket. It's amazing. But like, yeah, so this happens. Oh my gosh, and I remember with Ocarina of Time, Jabu Jabu, so many nightmares. It has just absolutely traumatized me so much as a kid, where it's just like, yay, Zelda! Yay, it's my favorite thing, because I love Majora's Mask, and Majora's Mask was so much fun, and then Ocarina of Time happens, and it's because I played Majora's Mask first, and then Ocarina of Time, and then it felt like the prequel, even though it came first, and it was like, you could save in a different way than Majora's Mask, it's so interesting, and it's just like, yeah, you get to run around, these are like the origins of Link, and how he came to be, and everything, and it's so much fun, and you solve puzzles, and you go to the Great Deku Tree, and then you go to the Gorons, and it's all happy fun, and then the King Zora, he sits on his butt, and then he scoots, and he takes forever, and then Jabu Jabu happens, and then it becomes a horrible, horrible time. So this was sort of like a sucker punch. That's just it was a sucker punch that, like, my body didn't register the pain to. So it's like somebody hit me out of nowhere, and then I just turn around and it's just like, oh, you didn't hit me. And I just walk along as though I didn't get a bruise, even though in my mind and everybody else around me in this hypothetical situation would have seen as such. It hasn't caught up with me mentally, or with my body's, like, inflammatory response to when you get hit. So it's just sort of like, oh, that happened. Moving on. Although it's still a sucker punch, because I'm just not expecting it in the slightest. I did not expect it to happen when I was going through Sugartera. Like, I thought I was just being paranoid when we got to the deeper depths, and I was like, something gonna happen here? No, of course not. It's Cookie Run Ovenbreak. They haven't done anything where, like, you'd have to run through a level inside something since the original days of the game, and that was story-wise. Because the entire point of, or like, the start of the game is that they're avoiding that, and that they are free. And there's even a reminder in other areas with certain creatures that, like, try and reach for you, or like the snakes that eat the poor little jelly frogs, where it's like, oh yeah, the world is still terrifying. This is why you continue to run, and you want all these cookies to be safe and happy. You want them to grow up safe. You want them to be strong. You want to protect with 2 C's at the end. You just want them to be safe and live a happy cookie life, living in a happy cookie place where they're away from dangers and pain. And then the jelly apocalypse happens, and it's like, oh no, now their world, once they've escaped, is now a zombie apocalypse. Although now that reality has apparently Thanos snapped away, and the alternate reality versions of old legendary pets are now coming back. But yeah, so that is a thing that happens, and, like, there are the clouds that happen when you walk through the area, I think the first time. So it, like, discovers the area when it ends up happening. It's like, whoosh. So there's this whimsical cloud of discovery where it's like, you've discovered a new area. And then instead, it ends up being a horrible, terrible, disgusting place. And it's just like, oh, good, thanks. It's like if in Home Improvement they moved aside the old house and they replace it with, like, the charred remains of your house instead of a new house, and it's just like, oh good, you made it worse. How did you do that? And it's just bad. It's just and not to mention the inside of the level is gross. It is so gross. It gets more gross as it goes along. Not as gross as Inside the Witch, because Inside the Witch from the original Ovenbreak was surprisingly incredibly gory. With there was very little blood. There was, like, blood vessels, very little blood. Because, like, part of it had been censored, and I think green, but somehow making it green made it worse. And the entire area is so horrifically horrible. I think the eyeballs might be bloody, because there are eyeballs that are spikes on the ground. They're just growing inside. It's horrible. The fish was better in comparison, even due to the fact that the mechanics don't change inside the fish, so it's just running. Like, you have to be aware of, and the other thing, so, like, the fact that you're inside the witch is constantly on your mind when going through the thing, because you have to keep that up in order to not die, whereas in here, it's a bit more of, like, the skin to the level, but it's a horrible skin, and I do not like it, and again, objectively not horrible. It is not actually a horrible thing. To me, it is a horrible thing. So it is incredibly gross. There are the fish pirates, who, some of them are dead already, and are ghosts. There are rotting, like, the fish corpses in grossness. I don't want to say it, and it drips constantly, and it rises from the floor at points, so it's not just that you're on the ship. And what's cool is that they have jellies in the shape of, like, clothes on, like, a hanger. I was like, oh, look at that, that's kind of clever. I like that. Can we make this, can this be like Yogurca, where the back streets, you get to swing around like you're Aladdin? on like a clothesline with clothing that's over there. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that level. I enjoyed all of Yogurca, essentially. Besides the rose garden where stuff appears. But even then, the plants grew on me. I just didn't care for that level as much because it was annoying and I always forgot where the light spheres were. Because like your view is obstructed. But, oh yeah, and I think, no, it was not too, that's right, it was not dark in the fish. The fish is all lit up, so you get to see the inside of the fish. The fish just radiates light for some reason, as most things do, I guess, when you're inside them. Which I don't know if it would have been better or worse if you couldn't see, because then it's like, oh great, now you can't see what's ahead of you. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well you can't see all of the level. So I guess in a way this is technically maybe better, but maybe not, I don't know. I would much rather it be incredibly brightly lit than dimly lit, and you could see everything, because that feels a lot scarier to me. So either darkness or light, but not in between. So at least they did it in bright light, but like there are some fish dangling for dear life, or else they will die in other sections. Which also, like, you can end their you can put them down. You can just end their misery right there by like being giant and then just bursting through them. So you can like Kool-Aid Man through ribs to just kill the people hanging on there. Like the fish, and I like to imagine that like in their dying moments they're like, thank you, and yeah, you get to kill them. There are people who are alive who are also trying to stop you, and dead and ghosts, so they are constantly haunted and stuck there. And it's not like you can just be like, oh okay, well you know what, this is traumatizing, let me go. I need to be cleansed by the Lord. Let me go read of the Bible in the good book to cleanse me of these demons, because one finds comfort in the Lord. You open the book up, chapter what's this? So Jonah gets eaten by the whale, and it's like, ah. So no, it's not good. I like the idea of that joke, so I will probably use that again in the future, but I wanted to say it here. So it's just like, yeah, okay, this is good. This is what I wanted. Yep. This is exactly the thing that I wanted. I'm lying. I don't want it at all. It's just like, I thought this would not end up happening again. I thought that with all of the things that happen, like, that's the thing they avoid doing now. Because, like, people, something I have noticed at least, like when people talk about Ocarina of Time, oh my gosh, my father's home.